Hey, beloveds, and welcome back to another edition of How Intuition Saved My Life and How It Can Save Yours. Today I'm going to dive into the 2 times I quit my job because intuition guided me. And so let's dive in. So, one of the most prolific and profound times in my life really came when I quit my job as a school librarian in the suburbs of Chicago to pursue my new dream of becoming a yoga teacher, a spiritual counselor. I had gotten into such a place where I felt so broken and so disconnected that I was actually looking and searching for a spiritual home. I actually felt like I was having a nervous breakdown. I was about, I want to say, Miana was like a year and a half away from going off to college. And so I was really starting to think, oh my God, what am I going to do when she goes away to college? Who do I want to be? So I guess this was about her actually it was earlier than that now that I think about it, because it was right after I read Eat, Pray, Love. And when that book came out, I actually got to meet Elizabeth Gilbert, another Cancer sister. So happy birthday early, Elizabeth Gilbert. But anyway, I got to meet her, and there was actually a Chicago Tribune article written about how I quit my job after reading Eat, Pray, Love to pursue my dream of becoming a yoga teacher and a spiritual counselor. And I have to share that with you. So if you want to see that article and all of the articles that have followed, because I actually then wrote a post, or actually had an article in HuffPost about how meeting Elizabeth Gilbert changed my life. So if you want that, please like and put it in the comments. And so yeah, like I quit my job as a librarian. I had no safety net whatsoever. But all of a sudden, I had found my spiritual home. I've talked about them before, Center for Spiritual Living, now called Bodhi Center. And I just was inspired to live this other kind of life. And I had really gotten into a dark, dark place. And it was then that it gave me new life. And I was actually gifted the opportunity and the finances to be able to go to yoga school at Kripalu for a month during my birthday month in July. And this had to be in 2007. So yeah, it was in about 2007. So I went to Kripalu for a month and did my 200-hour yoga teacher training. And that intuition changed my life, because then I knew too that I needed and wanted to pursue becoming a spiritual counselor. I knew then that I could never be an employee again, and that I had to truly step into being an entrepreneur. And I had never actually thought about being an entrepreneur. And I just knew that I wasn't a good employee, and I didn't like working for other people. So I was like, what can I do? What can I do to sustain myself and my daughter? And so I just said, please show me the way. And so I would be doing tarot readings, teaching yoga classes. I was waitressing also at the time. I was doing all the jobs. I was making jewelry. I worked at a jewelry store. I was hustling for my dream. And it wasn't until her senior year, actually, again, a birthday gift to myself, I got myself my passport. And so that August, she actually went and lived with a friend, and I thought I was going to be moving out of the country then, and I didn't. So I actually started my Couchsurfing experience, but I digress. And so, it was the first time I wasn't the one who had a home, and this was the first time I had truly been homeless. And I knew then that I was like, now that I don't have all these responsibilities and all this stuff, why not travel? Why not go somewhere? And so then I got an invitation to go to Costa Rica. I had also went on a writing cruise. All these different things led me to realize that I had true wanderlust. But I want to get back to the second time I was advised to quit my job by my intuition. And I've shared this story about how I was invited to compete in the International Psychic Challenge in Kiev, Ukraine. And so I had been getting these emails, and I was like, what is this? And I was just delete, delete, delete. And then finally something just said, read it, or ask one of the girls at work to read it for you. And I was notified that they had seen my YouTube and wanted me to audition for the show and were going to fly me to Kiev to do it. And I was like, what? And here I was working at one job as a busboy. One restaurant, I worked as a busboy and a hostess. Another restaurant, I worked as a server, a waitress. That was the Southernmost Beach Cafe and Blue Heaven in Key West. So if you were ever in Key West, I worked at those restaurants. I'm sure you've been there. So just so you know. I told them about this and they were like, you've got to be kidding me. You're being invited to a TV show in Europe. Nobody believed me. Everybody thought I was going to get stolen. They were like, you must be out of your mind. But I knew my intuition had told me to go. Now imagine a black woman from Chicago, a single mom at the age of 20, going to a place like Kiev, Ukraine, out of nowhere. But beloveds, at 40 years old, I was a TV star. Like, who would have thought? On TV in a reality show. And if I hadn't followed my intuition, I would have never had that opportunity of living in that city and meeting the amazing people of Ukraine. And so anyway, I wanted to share that with you. And this is how intuition can save your life, because sometimes it does not make sense, but you have to do it because that voice, that something is telling me. You gotta trust it, beloveds, because if you don't, it gets dimmer and dimmer. And that's why it takes, your intuitive power to know, so you can anchor in, this is who I am, without weirdness and guilt. It's time that we embrace intuition as our superpower. So if you like what you're hearing and want to hear more, please click like, comment, share, do all the things. And also follow me on IG and TikTok, as well as Pinterest as the Black Psychic Librarian. I've got some book stacks I'll be sharing with you very soon, and so much more. And don't you want to find out what is your intuitive power? Make sure you take that quiz. It is there. I can't wait for you to see what your power is, and I can't wait. We've got some super duper amazing stuff coming up for you very soon, so make sure you stay tuned for more coming up soon. Till next time, beloveds, Ashe.